quick question, Rachel. Why do you refer to the cruiserweight division as trash weights? Listen, cruiserweights, to me, it's one of the weight divisions, if not the last one that they added. And the idea is that heavyweights today are a lot bigger than they used to be, and they had all these fighters that needed a division to compete in, right? I like it. Cruiserweights, historically, usually at least, is it fun to watch. The fights are fun to watch because they're essentially heavyweights, but
I feel like they're heavyweights, but like there just seems to be less pressure and less on the line, and I feel like they don't have to be as good.
They don't have to be as good.
Like you just get in there and box and brawl, and it's just not as like everything doesn't depend on one fight,
Yeah, and I've really come to appreciate the cruiserweight division, especially over the last year or so, with the World Boxing Super Series and all the stuff they're doing.
Yeah.
They just finished.
When I asked you last night, I was like, "Oh, well, why are they doing a cruiserweight series so soon again?" And you were like, "Well, in order to make it marketable, right? You need fighters. So I mean, we couldn't do a series with the heavyweights because that would be unfair. You wouldn't get the best fighters to fight each other because it's too much of a risk." But cruiserweights got nothing to risk.
Cruiserweights aren't doing nothing. Well, I guess if they're not on the World Boxing Super Series, they're just fighting in people's backyards in Poland. I don't know. So it's a real interesting division. I think there's. We watched a few of the fights.
There were 3 cruiserweight fights
on Saturday. One of the alphabet organizations. You know how the alphabet organizations can't get together and even agree on what we should call the weight divisions. This is annoying, right? So there's some people call it.
I did not know this.
Yeah, junior welterweight, 140 pounds.
Oh, I didn't know.
Some people call it super lightweight.
Oh,
right?
okay. I didn't know that was because of the alphabet belts, though.
Yeah, one of the alphabet belts. I don't want to say it is. I don't remember who it is. It doesn't matter who it is. But one of the alphabet belts calls the cruiserweight division junior heavyweight.
But then there's also a light heavyweight?
Yes.
Okay.
That's weird.
Silly.
That's dumb, alphabets. It would be good. I was thinking, and this is a little bit of a transition here, but you know what? With DAZN, or DAZN as we call it in our home, and with the PBC, and we have all these newish kind of conglomerates out, are we going to grow out of the alphabet organization age? Because with the World Boxing Super Series, we're kind of showing that, hey, maybe we don't even need these alphabet belts. We could have World Boxing Super Series. They have the trophy, but let's extrapolate that and take it all. Could there be DAZN champions, and could there be PBC champions? Do you see what I'm saying? That's at least. I don't hate that. I don't hate that because most of the alphabet organizations that exist today, I think, are outdated. They've lived past their use. They've become over. They're just crappy, right? You've got all these rankings that don't mean anything. You've got all this political stuff that happens behind the scenes that nobody cares about. So why don't you just be honest about it and make PBC champions and DAZN champions, just like there's a UFC champion, right? It's the entity over, just like there's a Super Bowl champion, just like the college football playoff. That's done by them, not by anything outside of that. I think. Yeah,
but then in those situations, there's still only one. So in boxing, there would still be more than one, and I think it's just the same thing.
That's the easiest tie is from boxing to MMA. In MMA, there's not one because you have the UFC heavyweight champion, you have the Bellator heavyweight champion, right? Those are different.
Well, I mean, I think it's fine, but ultimately, I'd like to get to a single place, so then you would still have.
How are we going to do that?
The need for either TBRB or the ring or something outside of that. But my question is, do you think that this, the World Boxing Series, could eventually just be how boxing is always ran?
That would be awesome.
So then we would always... So first of all, it would have this idea of protecting your undefeated, whatever, your zero. That would go out the door because you would be... you would almost have a season where so every year maybe you could be undefeated for that year, the Patriots went undefeated and stuff, but they haven't been undefeated since the beginning of time. So somebody like Wilder might be undefeated 1 year, or I don't know. It's just interesting. I wondered
Yeah, now that you
And
said
fighters
that,
would fight more, and
I definitely think that's a better idea. Why doesn't the World Boxing Super Series just take over everything, and they could have World Boxing Super Series in every
Well,
weight
then
class every year?
and you could almost still have like DAZN and PBC and all that, but they would all just be supplying their fighters to the series and entering them into the series. Anyway, it's an interesting thing.
Yeah, I definitely like where boxing seems to be going. It's new, it's different, it's fresh, and we've watched boxing. We've watched boxing for a long time. We've been involved in the sport, whether writing or doing boxing channel videos or other stuff for. It's been over like 10 years now. It's been like a long time, right? So we've been around long enough to know that what's happening now is different than anything we've seen, and it's different than anything that I saw in my childhood as well. And so I'm really excited about where boxing's going, and shoot, who knows? Maybe here's another idea. Maybe Real Talk just becomes we decide who's champion, right? So I would like to say that the first Real Talk champion is definitely Alexander Usyk. He's here. I have a belt on. This can be our belt. It can just be my belt. And here's the belt. And they're like, oh, this is just a leather belt. But we're like, just put it on, and that's all that matters, because it's just a sign and a symbol of what Real Talk means to the people.